Hi, I'm Mike James, and I coordinate discipleship, assimilation, and deacon ministry for the Kentucky Baptist Convention. Thank you for joining us for this video blog on models of deacon ministry. I see basically four models that most of our churches use as our deacons serve. One is the family ministry plan, where in that plan the congregation is divided up into family groups, and a deacon will take a certain number of families and minister to them, and that works if you work it. The problem sometimes with that model is we give our deacons way too many families. The second model is the Sunday school model, where a deacon is assigned in a Sunday school class to be the primary caregiver and also to train other caregivers in that class, and that works well. Another one that we're seeing a lot of churches use today is gift-based. In other words, deacons form a team or a group based on their spiritual giftedness and serve out of that. But today we're going to talk about the model of deacon-led ministry teams. We're glad to have as our guest today Chip Pendleton. Chip, welcome. Appreciate it. Chip is pastor at Westport Road Baptist Church in Louisville, and he is one of my deacon coaches that I have across the state that does a lot of teaching for us. And Chip, thanks for being with us today. Good to see you.
Good to be here.
Chip, I know that your church has moved several years ago to this model of deacon-led ministry teams. Tell us why you moved in that direction and how that kind of works, if you will.
Originally, we were doing the family ministry plan, and it's a good plan. It works well if everybody does it. But like you said earlier, sometimes there's too many families, or some of the deacons don't have the time, and everybody just felt overwhelmed. And so we wanted to make sure ministry was getting done. And so we went to the deacon-based ministry plan there to try to get people involved more with their gifts and with specific areas where we needed help at the church.
Mm-hmm. So your deacons are organized then around teams that are doing ministry in the church and outside the church. What are some of those teams called?
Sure, we have a hospital team that will assist the staff in visiting hospitals. We have a nursing home shut-in team, which has been very beneficial to us, really keeps up well with that group of individuals. We have a helping hands team that just does any project, from building handicap ramps to helping people move. We have a benevolence team. We just started a grief team this year that's really done a lot of great ministry, and they follow up after someone has passed away. They've started what they call the Healing Hearts Ministry, where they continue on with small groups with people who've lost loved ones. First time they met, I thought, well, you'll have 3 or 4 people from the congregation come to that meeting. Had 19 people show up after church with one announcement. And so it's been a great team that we've got going there.
That's great. So y'all have probably 7 or 8 or 9 different teams that your deacons serve on, correct?
Yes, and every year we adjust it depending on what we look at is where are the areas that we need the most help in ministry in the church? Where are there gaps where ministry isn't being done? And then the deacon teams try to fill those gaps. And some of them, hospital, nursing home, have stayed the same. But some have come and gone, and the grief one was a new one we started this year.
So sometimes a team might do such a good job, or that need in the church might end, and so that group then maybe forms a different team because a new need may have come up in the church that they can address, correct?
Yes, exactly. We had a new member assimilation team for a while, that when someone would join the church, they would help orient them and get them involved in the church. And they started a new members class and some other things, but those things kind of became self-sufficient, and that deacon team wasn't needed as much anymore. And so it basically got that ministry going, disbanded, and we started another ministry the next year.
That's great. One of the things I like about this model, Chip, is that deacons are serving. I get the question asked a lot out among the churches in Kentucky, what should deacons be doing? And in one word, they ought to be serving and facilitating the ministry of the church and helping the pastor and pastors do ministry. One of the things that I like about this model is the fact that you can have, like you said, you had a hospital team that's made up of deacons and the congregation that are a part of that. And if you have a model where it's just the deacons doing hospitals only, and you ask Jim or Betsy to go make a hospital visit in the congregation, they might say, well, we have a deacon team that does that, so we don't have to do ministry. And of course, that's the very opposite of what we want, because we're all called to ministry. Right. So in this model, then, have you seen a multiplication of ministry, and what is the balance in terms of how many deacons might be on the team versus people in the congregation on the team? How does that work, Kylie?
Sure. It really depends on the team itself. For instance, our nursing home team, we have about 50 people from the congregation that are also on that team. We have almost 100 people in nursing homes or shut-ins that we've identified. And so we have 4 deacons who organize and run the team, but then they have a lot of help from the congregation, where almost now we have a person assigned to a particular nursing home, and there's a lot more ministry that gets done. So it's not just 4 deacons. We now have 54 people on that one team, and each one is assigned 2 people that they keep up with. And it makes it a lot easier, a lot more efficient, and it really gets ministry. People are being contacted now constantly.
Wow. Let me ask you this, Chip. In your deacons meeting, I don't know, y'all meet monthly or?
Monthly,
okay.
Yes,
what in the deacons meeting that you have, is it a time of reporting on what those teams have accomplished for Christ the last month? Tell me kind of how your deacon meetings go.
Sure. Accountability is the key. No matter what one of those 4 plans you're using, accountability becomes the main thing. And so at our deacons meetings, the main section of the deacon meeting is our teams meeting by themselves, planning their ministry, what they're going to do, what they've done in the past. And then we get together at the end, and each team reports on what they've done the last month. Now that holds accountability, because you don't want to be at the meeting, be one of 5 or 6 teams and say, we didn't do anything last month,
right.
Next team or something like that. So that builds in some accountability to what's going on. It also lets people know. Then at our church business meetings, every deacon team reports on what they've done over the quarter. And when you have 100 people in nursing homes, and at the end of the year, the nursing home team stands up and said, we made 1,200 visits this year.
Wow.
People think, that's amazing. But it may have been one person making 2 visits that month when you have 54 people involved in that. But at the end of the year, you see the impact that had.
Mm-hmm. Amen. Amen. Now, on your teams, when you organize these, the deacon leads out, but they have a lot of other people helping them. How do you discern the needs in your church? Is that something you do with your staff, or needs arise and you say, well, that'd be a good need that our deacons can address?
Yeah, really, it kind of starts with the staff. We'll discuss that and look at areas, but then it mainly comes from the deacon body itself. Staff will make some suggestions, but we sit down as a deacon body. We have a retreat at the beginning of each year, and we really look at what are the main areas we want to address, how can the deacons help move the church's mission forward. And as I said, most of those teams stay the same, but there may come new needs, as you suggested, that come up that we would handle. This year we added that one new team is all that we did.
Chip, for a pastor out there, or maybe a deacon chair watching this video blog, and they might want to move toward this model, what has been some of the 2 or 3 of the biggest benefits and fruit of moving to this from your perspective?
Every deacon felt like what they were doing was important and valuable, because they have a direct ministry that they're accountable for. In the family ministry plan, sometimes they just felt overwhelmed.
Yeah.
They had responsibility, but there was so much. But if they know, I'm going to visit the hospital once a week, and that's my job as a deacon, then it becomes easier to do, and you feel like you're accomplishing something. The second thing is congregation becomes more aware of the deacons and what the deacons are doing. But I think the main benefit is that there's ministry being done in the church. Because again, the way we set up our teams are, where are the gaps? We discovered we weren't doing a very good job of visiting nursing homes. This deacon team is doing a great job of visiting nursing homes. Hospitals, I love it when I go to a hospital and the first thing the person says is, oh, a deacon just left an hour ago.
That's great.
To me, that's the greatest thing I could ever hear. And so just that presence and being that servant model and ministry really being done in the church is the main benefit, I think.
Amen. Amen. Well, thank you so much for being with us, Chip. And if you'd like more information about deacon ministry, you can go to our website or call the KBC. I have a blog called 28Nineteen.org that has information about deacon ministry. If we can help you in any way, that's why we're here. Thanks a lot for joining us today.